Alrighty. Okay. Hello, everybody. Let people know that I'm live. Oh, I should probably post on Discord that I'm live tonight. Okay. Okay. Stream Elements bot hasn't even booted up yet. I just want to go to bed. Alright, let me see. It was CeeLo. Okay. Alright. Maybe I'll end stream super early and go take a nap. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. It's weird because, like, oh, let me go to just chatting. Oh, there's the stream element spot. I know stream element spot got my back. And boop. There we go. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I slept last night. I went to bed super early. I slept last night, but I was still tired today. I spotted a bed bug, which was not helpful. Did not help my sleep. It was one single bed bug, and I should probably put all my stuff back through the dryer, but I just didn't have the energy today. I just didn't have the spunk to get up and go. I was so drained today. Like, ugh. I watched this long YouTube video today because I watched this YouTube channel knowing better, and they just put out he just put out a 2 hour and 24 minute video, which was a long video. It was so long I had to stop in the middle and take a nap. And even then I couldn't sleep really well. But yeah, it was an interesting video. Very interesting to learn about some of the things that was covered in that video. I won't go into it because it got into some gruesome stuff. So how was everybody's weekend? I had an interesting weekend. I had an interesting session last night of Lancer. We haven't had an actual Lancer game for my Sunday session in the past like 4 weeks because of people not being around. And it was this big emotional moment, and there was a lot of character development and going on different quests, and actually I just remembered something I need to put in my notes real quick. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. I just had to check something, make sure I'd put something in my notes for my Lancer game. There was one thing where they met this giant snake that they slayed in order to take snake meat for a feast, and then one of the snake's babies came out, and they were like, "We want to take the baby, but the baby's going to get too big." And if they'd taken the baby, I would have given them some kind of a way where it would have taken time for the baby to get that big. Given them some kind of way to deal with the baby being that big. But I didn't realize that like one of my players really loves snakes. So it was like super emotional because like they'd slayed this snake in order to get its meat, right? And it was this big monster snake. And then seeing its baby come out, and then they're like, "No, I want to take the baby." It was so funny. But I had a good conversation with my players that I've needed to have for a while to clear the air about certain things. And it's like, it's life, you know? It's always hard having communication stuff happen. And like, coming right off the back of like discovering that I have at least some level of autism, and that's what's been responsible for so many of my terrible personal interactions and all my lost friendships and broken hearts and all of that stuff, all of that mess. Some of that is connected to the autism. Um, and then having this fear that like whenever I have that conversation with that important conversation I needed to have with my players, this fear that I was going to do it wrong. Um, and that things were going to go bad. And um yeah, that's always kind of a fear at the back of my brain that things are just going to go bad. I've also been working on staying hydrated, which has been nice. Oh goodness, I'm yawning so much. You think as much as I slept today as much as I slept last night and as much as I slept today that I'd be just fine on energy. But also it's a thing of like I didn't drink any caffeine today. That might be part of it. So I got these Mio drink flavorings, right? These water flavorings. One of them has caffeine, one of them doesn't. And I've been drinking the caffeine one like one a day, right? And I'm concerned about getting addicted to caffeine. So I didn't take any of the caffeine one today or yesterday, and I've just felt so drained. And I'm wondering, is it the caffeine? Have I is it that easy that I've started to become dependent on caffeine to be functional? That's not what I want. That's not the life I want. I'm looking at my water bottle, I'm looking at my caffeine, my Mio energy shot, and I'm debating taking a shot of it now, but I'm like, I want to go to sleep after a stream, and if I do some caffeine, I'm just gonna be buzzed all night. Ugh. I do some caffeine in the morning. Tomorrow morning I'll do a caffeine one. I wonder where Silva is. I should message Silva and be like, hey, where you at? Maybe Silva's busy with work. You know what? I'm gonna go bug Silva. I'm just gonna say to Silva, you coming to stream tonight or nah? Silva's probably uh still tired from work. Silva said they forgot. Ah. Yeah, I'm worried that I might be getting like already like, just a couple days worth of experience, and I've already gotten addicted to caffeine. That's one thing I'm worried about. Oh no! You set it for the 11th, the 1/1. Oh no, what happened, Silva? Did everything get smoothed over with your job, or did you get in trouble? Yes, the 1T1. So like I haven't even had that much caffeine. I just have like one of my meal flavorings is an energy one. And I thought I'd try it to give myself a little bit of energy, and I didn't do it today. And I've just felt like so down and like blah, 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 blah. But like it doesn't even give me a lot of energy to do things. Like it doesn't even give me a lot of energy, so I didn't even think about taking it. But now, instead of having energy to do things, I'm just feeling like exhausted. Like my boss gives a darn because I've already had experience with it before. It's more of a refresher. Okay, that's good. As long as you aren't getting in trouble, Silva. I don't want you getting in trouble. You're not allowed. You're absolutely positively not allowed to get in trouble, Silva. Maybe Nabaru. Like I've only been drinking caffeine for a couple days. Like maybe a week. And I just went like a couple days without. Because I was just feeling down. Yeah, you're telling me with all of the shenaniganry Garza does. I'm hoping the next D&D session is gonna be like more positive. You know, speaking of the D&D sessions. Because the last couple D&D sessions has been... Yeah, Helmi's been a bit of a downer. And like... I didn't even bother to complain to the DM about it because like... I already don't like this person. But yeah, I'm like I talked to the DM about some of the stuff that happened in the session and like how I felt about certain things. And I feel better since I've talked to the DM about it. It's also funny, I originally didn't start talking to the DM about it. I was talking to the DM originally about a homebrew subclass I made. So like when I was first talking to the DM, I didn't start the conversation talking about the session. I started the conversation. Oh, that's loud. That is loud. There we go. I started the conversation talking to the DM about my about this homebrew subclass I put together because I got inspired to make a homebrew. And whatchamacallit, it just kind of came up while we were talking about stuff. But yeah, I made a homebrew subclass for the barbarian. Might test it out at some point. The DM thought it was pretty good. Definitely didn't feel OP. But it could do with some more flavor to make it a bit more flavorful. So that's one thing I need to work on. And also the presentations, that way it's not just, if I share it with people, it's like, here's a Google Doc. Like actually having a way to share it with people would be nice. I'm working on putting together something for home brewery. So the subclass I made is based on the Dragoon from Legend of Dragoon, not Final Fantasy. And when I asked the DM to take a look at it, he's like, is this a Final Fantasy thing? And I'm like, no, wrong Dragoon. Wrong Dragoon. But yeah, the thing is, the homebrew section of D&D Beyond takes a lot of getting used to. Takes a lot of like back and forth. Right, Nabiru? I think it's because the Legend of Dragoon has so much flavor. It's so flavorful and it's so different. Like you think of Dragoon a lot of times from Final Fantasy, you always think of some kind of a lancer, right? Some kind of a character with a lance who does like a lot of mobility and stuff. But that's not quite what this is. Or spear or pike or something, you know what I mean? That makes sense, Nabiru. But Silva, you've gotta realize, like you can't directly one-to-one translate what you can do in a video game or in an MMO to D&D. It doesn't translate like that. There's different balancing. Because if you put all of those things in one turn, you end up with a character that is just doing all of these things at once. And without some kind of a resource to expend to do them, if you can just do that every turn, you just throw all balance out the window. Like if you look at like my my paladin, right? if I have the spell slots to use for it, I can do like different types of smites and stacking them up together in order to do a bunch of damage, right? But I have spell slots that I'm spending to fulfill that, to do that, right? And then when I'm out of those spell slots, I'm out of those spell slots. So like if you were going to try putting all of these different abilities that you could stack onto each other to do a bunch of stuff in one turn, kind of like a paladin stacking smites, you'd need some kind of a resource that you would. But the thing is, if you're jumping, for one, you're not always going to be in a scenario where you can jump properly. Like you're not always going to be in a place with enough verticality that you can get that kind of height. Like what happens if you execute your jump and just smash yourself into the roof? Hmm. Like not every, like it fits for like the game and for that kind of stuff, but not everything's gonna translate. Ah. But see, then you're getting into so many different resources to tap into that it just becomes a really complicated character. And then it's only ever going to get used by you're going to be the only person that ever uses it. But I guess that's okay if that's your goal. Like for me, my goal with my homebrew is to eventually release it into a state where like other people can play it. Where other people can pick up this homebrew class, this homebrew subclass I put together, and play it and enjoy it. But again, that comes down to the difference in design philosophy. Mm-hmm. You thrust good, Silva? Okay. My best suggestion would be to pick like, I don't know, 3 of those things that you would want to do, and then say that you could do one of them on a bonus action and have them all do different things, and then learn them as you level up. Treat them like battle master tactics. Because there's already mechanics for that in the game. If you treat them like the battle master die, then you just add them onto your regular attack. Hmm. Mm-hmm. 5 Yalm. That's an interesting unit of measure. I guess that's the unit of measure of Final Fantasy 14. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting concept, Nabiru. Part of me is just wondering. It's your game. It's your game, Silva. Part of me is just wondering what the future is going to hold for D&D and for Wizards of the Coast. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with string, like a garrote or other forms of cutting implement. One of my one of the players in my Sunday Lancer group talks about really horrifying things sometimes, and one of the things he's talked about is like how if you hang if you string up some piano wire at like head height and someone walks into it moving even slightly fast, they can decapitate themselves. Okay. Of course, Final Fantasy in the fantasy world would use fantasy names for uh the US foot mile system. What's it called? Is it Imperial units? Imperial, okay. Well, affecting everything in a 5-yard radius is pretty. I don't know, I think that's okay. Because, like, think about it. 5 yards is. A yard is 3 feet. So that's 15-foot radius. So that would just be a 30-foot square. That's not bad. 30-foot square centered on you. It's kind of big. I'd probably cut it down to a 15-foot square, just for balance purposes, especially if it's something you can do. But if it's your most powerful attack, yeah, I can see that reaching 30 foot. Well, it's a 30-foot square, so it reaches 15 feet away from you. Well, we were actually just talking about freedom units, Nabiru. Apparently, freedom units are actually called Imperial units. That's the actual name for them, which is funny. Yeah, the D&D Beyond homebrew system is not user friendly whatsoever. I tried. So because I didn't want to spend the money on the Warforged, and I wanted to be able to make other Warforged characters without giving WotC any of my money, I looked up what came with the Warforged, right? And then worked on building the Warforged as a homebrew, so that way I would have access to being able to make my own Warforged. And it like fried my brain trying to figure all of that out over the course of a few days. There was so much problem solving with getting it done. And even though I got it done, like I could have done more, like there's definitely a more efficient way to do what I did. I just couldn't figure it out. And that's just the race system. I can't even imagine the class or subclass system. But I really wonder what's going to happen with D&D 5e and with Wizards of the Coast moving forward. Like, we thought after the OGL situation got resolved that like Wizards was going to be flying a little bit, smooth and clear, and trying to rebuild their trust in the community's trust in them, and that Wizards would be taking steps to like just be better. And then there was the entire debacle with them hiring Pinkerton agents. Like, come on. There's so many better ways they could have resolved that. So I saw one commenter who was talking about the situation that was like, I'm not sure what WotC expected this guy to do. Like, well, to have their first option be reaching for armed thugs with a history of escalating things beyond what they needed to be escalated, it's kind of bad optics. Well, judging by the timing and the evidence we have from the guy, he said he was completely caught unawares by this and he had no idea this was coming. So, like, we have no reason to believe he's lying. Like, and the thing is, it's bad optics because people are going to want to believe the little guy a lot more than they're going to want to believe the big bad corporation. So, like, it just looks really bad. And as someone really pointed out, it's a thing where like, what did they really expect him to do? He's a YouTuber and this is now news in his life. Like, they showed up, like, yeah, they eventually eventually an agent reached out to him after all of this happened, or he said something about an agent reaching out to him to get him some replacement cards or something. But like all of that happened afterwards. Showing up on his doorstep with, you know, with armed thugs and threatening him with 10 years in jail. Come on. Also, considering it was their fault in the first place, like. Anyway. So, like I put in the title, we're gonna be reading a viewer submission. CeeLo Jose asked me to read this last time. I wanted to read over it. I almost forgot, actually. It's funny because so much stuff has happened that I almost forgot that I'd promised to do this today. So I just quickly skimmed over and read this thing before stream to make sure it was good. There's like one curse word in it, but it should be fine. And I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit before we get into actually working on my writing. I don't have a whole lot to say because, like, again, I'm not a writing coach. I'm not a professional author. I am an amateur at everything. So I'm not entirely sure what feedback CeeLo was hoping to get with this. But hey, I try to do what I can for the community. And apparently CeeLo doesn't have Discord, so there was no way that they could have submitted this onto the Discord. So, all right. Okay. Okay. All right, so this is apparently, I think this is, from what I gathered, it's some kind of it's a Konosuba self-insert. And I have limited knowledge of Konosuba. I know more, I've read more about Konosuba than I've actually read of Konosuba. So like, I've never actually watched Konosuba all the way through. I don't even think I've seen an entire episode. I've seen plenty of clips of Konosuba. In order to piece together some of the storylines as part of a fun exercise I do. This is fun for me. So this is I'm coming at this with almost as fresh eyes as you could get. So narration, dialogue, chapter 0, a rookie goddess thesis. I woke up at a TED Talk. I'm sitting in the third row by the center aisle. The room is packed. On stage, behind a podium, a young woman with silver hair going to her ankles and purple eyes, wearing what could be called the nun outfit, stands with her eyes closed and hands together as if praying. The screen behind her shows a colorful set of TTRPG dice on a table. After a deep breath, she opens her eyes and begins, "What is luck?" The question, stated in a soft, regal tone, halts any thoughts of how I got here and if it's a dream. Take a man, remove his willpower, what would be left? The sum of countless internal and external factors, past and present, connected in a network beyond mortal comprehension, pushing the individual into being something they had no say in. I put in the effort to refocus on listening, understand first, judge later. That's my domain. That's what people pray to me for, to bend chaos, to make it align with their plans and wishes. Not judging might prove difficult. The unexpected shift in direction makes me nervous. I tense up and sink into my chair. As for my own desires, well, after being promoted from the divine equivalent of call center customer support, I've been assigned to select teens and young adults who met an early death to embrace a new life in a world of fantasy where excitement and adventure awaits. He speaks more eagerly. She speaks more energetically. The chair is comfortable. You see, there is an ever constant effort to bring order to the transit of souls between the myriad of inhabited worlds that make up existence. After one eternity or two, the system in place seemed to start working pretty neatly. Local deities can, I think I'm supposed to say through, proper procedures, get a reliable influx of hero wannabes from normal worlds, give them a powerful skill or item, and let them loose to slay their enemies or die trying, and maybe bring in some modern comforts and values to the usually backwards lands of fantasy. Through this system and a good bit of flair and bull, my predecessor had successfully convinced uh, hundreds of youths to abandon the guarantees of eternal peace or a comfortable reincarnation in their home country to try their luck at defeating the Devil King. None of us succeeded. The silence that follows is broken by a more upbeat one and a single clap. So after her retirement, the higher-ups decided to update our policy on selecting hero candidates. The old 2-minute sales pitch was changed for a proper triage and interview process to find suitable candidates that wouldn't die right away or do something stupid with their power that somehow makes the world more dangerous. Under your chairs, you'll find a form and a quiz. The room is suddenly filled with the noise as everyone shuffles around to reach under the chair. I find a clipboard with a pen and a dozen paper sheets attached. They seem blank save for a line at the top to fill out the name. You have 15 minutes to fill in personal information to answer as many questions as possible. You may start. Through the weirdness of the last couple minutes, being given standardized tests feels comforting. I close my eyes and count to 10 to get in the zone. I can process the whole experience later. I bring my focus into the now and stare at my sheet where writing has suddenly manifested. It's in Japanese. This is a nightmare. Next time you're going to Belzerg. I know that they're doing playtests, Silva. I haven't looked at any of them or really participated in any of them. I've been kind of like meh on the entire process. All right, so let's talk about this. I'm seeing more on my second reading of it, which is why I wish I'd remembered and done more reading, but just my weekend was pretty rough. Oh. Well, rip the barbarian. So let's talk about what I think about this. So, from what I understand of the scene, it's supposed to be the character waking up from like some kind of early demise or thing that's just not named, that the character is waking up from in some kind of a TED talk, in some kind of an auditorium, where this goddess is expressing that everyone is now going to be taking a test to see if they qualify to go become a hero in another world. That is the basic premise, I think, what's going on, and I think you were trying to dress this up in a lot of different ways. Calling it a TED Talk doesn't exactly fit it, and I think that that only has a meaning to a select group of people. I think saying I woke up at in an auditorium, um, or like giving a better setting, a clearer understanding of what you're talking about when you say TED Talk, because I hear TED Talk, I just think of like the meme where like, and in this TED Talk I will talk about. I don't think about an auditorium filled with people. So if you would just put like I woke up in an auditorium surrounded by people, maybe describe that you can't see their faces in the dark, or you're sitting in a chair. Also, the spelling mistakes are kind of distracting. um misspelling, uh misspelling comfortable, misspelling through. um I didn't catch if there were any other spelling errors, but that just kind of pulled me out of it for a second because I was like, what? Um, I don't know how, because of one of the things with the internet, I have no idea how old CeeLo is. I believe it's CeeLo who wrote this. So I don't know what level of like writing experience or like English experience they have. So I say that with all of the love I can muster. I would suggest using like some kind of a spell check, maybe typing up your stuff in like Microsoft Word or Open Office or Google or even Google Docs, and then using the spell check function before you post might be helpful. So there's that. So there's the spelling errors, there's the setting stuff. I like the idea. And the ending gag is kind of funny, where the character is like, it's speaking English this whole time, and it's a play on the whole thing that like all of the main characters of isekai stuff come from Japan, and then having this character who speaks English suddenly get a Japanese exam to determine if they can be a hero. That can be really good. I think one suggestion I have would be maybe if instead of starting with that cold open of waking up in a TED Talk, start with like something more general, like I woke up in an auditorium surrounded by people whose faces I can't see, to give an idea of what you see. And because it wasn't until you mentioned the other noise, when you say the room is packed, I mean, you do say the room is packed. It just feels like that doesn't sell the description of like what this is. That also could just be me. It could just be that I'm old. It could just be that I'm old. What does this do well? It does well with that gag. It moves along very quickly. It doesn't spend a lot of time on any one thing in order to keep the plot moving, which is really good. And I really like I like the premise, and I like that it sticks to the premise pretty quickly, and it gets to the point really quickly. Like this whole speech of the goddess giving her thesis could have been really dragged out, but you didn't drag it out. You kept it pretty short, succinct, and to the point. Almost a little bit too short, but I think you got most of your point across. Overall, a good first attempt. And I look forward to seeing just saw this suddenly. Overall, I look forward to seeing what else you come up with and where this story goes. Thank you for submitting this and asking me to read over this. I know CeeLo said that they weren't going to be able to catch it live, but I hope that the VOD is interesting and helpful. I hope you don't feel like I was being overly harsh. But you did ask me what I thought of it, and you did ask me to read it, so I did. All right. Okay, what was I doing here? Let me look at my notes. Okay. Looking at my notes. Oh, jeez. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna cave a little bit and get a little bit of caffeine. Just a little bit. Give me 1 second. I just need something to get my brain going because I am just. I'm just like stuttering along. Okay. A little bit, not even a full squirt of the meal energy. Okay. All right, let's get back to it. All right, so. All right, so chapter 11, inciting incident. I want to introduce Rosa Crucis, the ruling party. Grief finds a letter in one of her raids demanding that she meet with them or else they reveal her true identity. Grief meets with them and with her first mate Phlox. They demand that she defend their research facilities from these raids. They promise that if she cooperates, they will specially design the bomb not to reach Domus, so she will survive to live in the new world. The letter is attached to one of the barrels she recovered in chapter 10 and is discovered while offloading in Domus. So that is what I'm writing tonight. Okay, so this is them going to high altitude mode. Oh, jeez. People are going out of their way to piss off Pipkin Pippa again. Okay. I'm getting distracted. Okay. Tony Amendelas is a Jedi in Star Wars Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. You know him most as Bartak from SG-1, Teal'c's mentor. Oh, okay. That's funny. It is really funny. Like, I think I've talked about this before. The fact that, like, in the original trilogy, Jedi were all but extinct, right? And that was a key plot point, that like the Jedi had been exterminated and were like nothing more than a myth across the universe, right? And then in the prequel trilogy, it sets up like how big the Jedi used to be, and everyone used to know who and what the Jedi were. And that makes it even more unbelievable that Luke wouldn't have heard of them if they existed anywhere, right? But then so much of the media since Disney took over the franchise has been hinting more and more that more and more people survived Order 66. To now, it's just wondering, was there just a secret? Like, was like did most of the Jedi just survive and go into hiding? Like, because it just feels like there's always more and more Jedi popping up. Getting to the point, I truly believe they need to remake the original trilogy. Mm-hmm. Well, what would they redo about the original trilogy? Would they reshoot the scenes? Like, what do you mean it's like Super Saiyans, Nabiru? The fact that like There's no mention of Super Saiyans at all until update the story to the new canon. Maybe. Yeah. And also, the Super Saiyan was originally like a legendary warrior that was once a generation that was Broly. Someone whose power levels kept rising infinitely. Um, but then it was revealed that that like anyone with enough training and dedication could achieve the level of Super Saiyan and then go beyond it. Super Saiyan, that was the legendary form of their people, became a child's plaything. Yeah, exactly. A legendary warrior reduced to a child's plaything. I think Vegeta said that. See, my worry if they tried to remake the original trilogy, right, is that it would be a goofy mess. Yeah. Hmm. What time of day is it? Did I set what time of day it was? Uh, what am I writing? Just trying to get my head in the game. It's been so long since I touched this story. It's been like a month. Let's set the time. What what just happened? What just happened? Why did it open another window of open office? Okay. Okay. Oh, also, I didn't tell you, I got a new chair. My other chair experienced some unfortunate incidents in my last stream. And I got it's a completely different type of chair. I'll have to get a picture of it at some point. I just got to get used to the fact that, like, my pillow keeps sliding down and it's really annoying. Okay. What was the name of the favorite bar? Put this in the notes. Let me check the notes. Skies End Bar. Mm. Okay. Okay. So I'm just trying to figure out where to go next. So what do I need to do next in the story? So next I need introduce more of what's happening in the current events. Um, I need uh I need to introduce the letter that was found with the barrels. And start setting up for the meeting. In the original, this was a really long and drawn out scene. I want to keep this scene relatively short, and also to describe some more of uh, how grief interacts with her crew, and to get some more of the feelings of family that that she feels for her crew. Before we move on to, and also do some stuff to introduce Rosicrucius. We'll delve more into Rosicrucius and their origins in a later chapter where we have her flashback that reveals that she is that she was the revolutionary, and what that means for the story. So I think the next thing is going to be have somebody bring her a newspaper and the letter that was found on one of the barrels. I'll have Phlox show up so Phlox can be there for the conversation. Okay. Let me see something. I think we got like 600 words so far. Oh, jeez. Not even close. Coming up on 400 words. Goodness gravy. Let's see if I can push through. I'm wondering if I'm going to end stream early. Normally I end stream about 11:30. I'll stop writing about 11 o'clock. Let's see if I can get through writing till at least 10:30 and see how I'm feeling then. The caffeine's starting to kick in. I can feel some of my mental faculties coming back. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think the last thing I had happening on the other side was that they were Rosicrucius announced that they were willing to negotiate. I'll check that. Did I join the mist? Okay, so the last thing was the announcement of the negotiations and then the arresting of the rebels. Okay. That was the last thing, was the arresting of the rebels. Okay. Now I'll do a quick introduction of who Rosicrucius is in order to explain who the ruling council is. Okay, so this will just be a quick aside in order to explain this so I can keep the plot moving. Because if I were to try to organically introduce this information, it would just take a lot of time and effort. So and also have to introduce another character that would be getting stuff explained to them. So I'm just going to introduce this in a quick aside. Okay. All right, well, thank you for coming, Silva. I'm probably going to end here in a little bit too myself. I'm feeling a little bit tired. The caffeine helped a little bit, but is not helping nearly enough. I'm probably going to end stream early and wind down. I just wanted to get through this part here because I wanted to get through this last stream, but I didn't. And I don't, and I want to get this while my head is still in this moment of the story. I want to set my goal to actually do more writing over the course of the week in order to keep the story alive in my mind. So that way, whenever I'm streaming, it's not just like digging through and trying to remember where my head is supposed to be. Because like once I get going, I'm good. But like in the beginning, it's just a nightmare. But thank you for coming, Silva. Wind down mindlessly watching shows. Speaking of mindlessly watching shows, I need to get on Netflix because I need to watch the Power Rangers 30th anniversary special once and always. That is something I need to watch. I'm gonna be mad if like I finally go to sleep and because of the caffeine in my system, I just am just laying in bed wide awake all night. I'm gonna be so mad if I fall into, because that was the thing I was experiencing when I was drinking the caffeine before, was I was too wide awake to fall asleep, but I was too tired to be productive, and I was stuck in this like frustrating loop of just like bleh. almost 1,000 words. We're at 891. So let's see if I can do 110 more words in the next 5 minutes. Okay. So we're gonna end an hour early tonight. Normally I would stream for 3 hours. Tonight we're ending at 2. We got just short of 1,000 words. Overall, some pretty good stuff. I'm gonna try to do some more writing tomorrow. Just it's hard to get motivated to do stuff lately. Anyway, let's wind down for the night and say my good nights and my goodbye. To Silva, to Naberu, to anyone else who watches this stream and just stayed in the background, silently watching and lurking, and to anyone who watches this VOD afterwards, I want to say that I love all of you, and I believe in each and every one of you. I think that you all are wonderful, precious, important, and you. I also want to say a shout out to CeeLo, whose chapter I read earlier at the beginning of the stream. Keep writing, keep trying to create new things, keep doing things. It is wonderful to see all of you trying new things. I want you to know that I think that you each make this world a better place by being in it, and I'm grateful every day to live in a world with you in it. Thank you for coming to stream. Thank you for giving me your time and your attention. And thank you for being members of this community. Always remember the Star Hunter motto: to shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live your dreams, and always stop to enjoy the meme. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing here on, well, actually, I would ask that you like the stream. It helps the algorithm with pushing it out to other people. If you are watching the VOD afterwards and you have any thoughts, questions, or things you want to put up, feel free to leave a comment. I will read them all as long as you're not banned. I may not respond to all of them, and I may not talk about all of them, but I will definitely read them all. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing on YouTube, feel free to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and ding the notification bell. Even if you're not even if you are subscribed, check to make sure you're still subscribed. Sometimes the system automatically unsubscribes you, and it's kind of weird how it does that. So just make sure. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing outside of YouTube, feel free to Follow me on Twitter or join the Discord. Links to both of those are in the description down below. Also, always remember you're never required to donate to be a member of this community. You're never required to pay to be welcome here. Just your time and your attention is payment enough. With that said, if you ever feel motivated to donate to improve the stream or to improve my life, there are links where you can do that down below as well. I want you all to have a wonderful night, and I want you to know I think that you are wonderful, truly important, and very precious people. Next stream is going to be Friday night, 8:30 p.m. EST. We might be playing some games. We might be doing a chatting stream. I don't know yet. I'll see how the week treats me and see what I come up with for Friday, if I'm feeling better or if I'm still caffeine addicted and going through some caffeine withdrawals. We'll see how it all pans out. But have yourselves a wonderful night, everybody.